agent for the first time in his 10-year career. As promised, back here with Graz. What's the market here for Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, as Miami moves on from him?
It's going to depend, Kevin, on how healthy he is and when. He had a significant knee injury that ended his season last year. He intimated online yesterday that he still needs at least one more surgery. So I think teams are going to want to see him healthy and see what he's still got in terms of speed coming off of that major knee injury, as you mentioned, at the age of 32. It's conceivable some team could just take a shot, try and jump the market, sign him to a low-cost, incentive-heavy deal. But I think given his age, given the significance of the injury, I think teams are going to want to make sure he's healthy before signing him. If he is, anybody that needs a receiver, Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots, name it. But right now, I think it could take a little while for that market to materialize.
Now, keep in mind, none of Hill's salary was guaranteed in Miami for 2026. Somebody that does have guaranteed money coming is Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. What are the steps for that new regime in Miami, including head coach Jeff Hafley moving forward with the quarterback position?
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned the guarantee. It's $54 million for this year. That's his guaranteed salary, Tua Tagovailoa. So the Dolphins would love to be able to trade him, but this is a guy who got benched late in the season for Quinn Ewers, and it feels unlikely that someone's going to want to trade for a $54 million guarantee this year. So if the Dolphins are able to trade him, it's probably because they were willing to either take less and or pay down some of that salary. If they end up releasing him, Kevin, it is a $99.2 million dead money cap charge. They can split it up over 2 years, but it's still going to be 99.2. So the Dolphins have to reset at quarterback, and they may be doing so around that massive dead cap figure, which may mean that they have to go relatively cheap at the position, maybe get a little creative here in the short term as they position themselves to solve this issue for the long term.
And you mentioned relatively cheap. If you connect the dots, though, there is a relationship. Hafley is familiar with free agent Malik Willis, his time in Green Bay, but that price tag is going to be a lot higher.
Might not be cheap
than it was. Running back Kenneth Walker, the third, will not be given the franchise tag or transition tag, league sources telling Adam Schefter. The Super Bowl 60 MVP, slated to be an unrestricted free agent in March, coming off his career game just 9 days ago. NFL analyst Sam Macho joining us now. Sam, what's a good destination for Walker next season?
The Dallas Cowboys would be a perfect destination for Kenneth Walker III. The reason why is you're running behind 3 first-round pick offensive linemen. You have CeeDee Lamb and potentially George Pickens on the outside. And all of a sudden, the thing that's been missing in a Schottenheimer offense is, or could be missing, right, is that running game. They're going to want to rely and lean on the running game. There are some pending free agents in the running back backfield with the Cowboys. Kenneth Walker has the patience, the speed, the acceleration, the burst, the ability to catch out of the backfield to be the perfect fit in free agency for the Cowboys.
Okay, speaking of the Cowboys, they're expected to franchise tag George Pickens, according to Adam Schefter. What do you think they should do with Pickens here?
I think the Cowboys should absolutely franchise tag George Pickens. The question is, will George Pickens accept the franchise tag or want a long-term deal? George Pickens had the best year of his career this year, mind you, alongside CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens should want to stay in Dallas. Dallas should want to keep him. But I don't know if Dallas is going to want to pay him for 4 or 5 years. I think a 1-year deal, about $28 million is what that franchise tag number is a wise decision for both George Pickens, his agents, his team, and also for the Dallas Cowboys. Have another year alongside CeeDee Lamb. Don't go through the whole holdout process. And also remember, Jerry Jones is the one on the other side of this negotiation. He may not be as amenable to give you a long-term deal. So stay in Dallas. There's no state tax, and you're playing alongside CD.
Keep in mind, too, this could be one of those storylines that does not go. It is February, Sam. We could be talking. I could be asking you this question heading into week 1 of the season in September if we look at the track record of the Cowboys, because they're always a story. Sam, thank you so much. Center, the Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker will not be given the franchise or transition tag. League sources telling our Adam Schefter. Super Bowl 60 MVP, slated to be an unrestricted free agent in March. And again,
Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. He ran for 135 yards on 27 carries and caught 2 passes for 26 yards in the Super Bowl win a couple of weeks ago. NFL insider Dan Graziano joining us now. Dan, tell us more about the Seahawks' decision not to tag Walker and any other big names that are potentially not being tagged.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ken Walker is a guy that the Seahawks would love to bring back, but it's got to be at the right price. The franchise tag is very high at about $14.5 million, most likely. That's high-end running back money. You're talking about guys like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. So Kenneth Walker worked very well in tandem with Zach Charbonnet this year in Seattle. They were able to keep him healthy as the season went along by splitting that work, and obviously they were rewarded with his postseason performance. But if he wants to max out and get as much as he can coming off Super Bowl MVP, then that probably comes from a team other than Seattle, which has other priorities in free agency this offseason. Rashid Shaheed, Kobe Bryant, and some extensions they want to do with some of their young stars. And then, the other guy I look at, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals, they could franchise him and keep him there, but remember, that was a contentious contract situation last summer. Franchise tag going to be pretty prohibitive when it comes to Trey Hendrickson. I would be surprised if the Bengals tagged him for a number of reasons. I think they'll want to get younger at that position and move on to other options. So Trey Hendrickson would hit the market and become a very enticing option for teams that feel like they're that one edge rusher away.
Teams have until March 3rd to apply the franchise or transition tags to eligible players. Thank you very much, Dan. Still ahead, back to the NFL as the Dolphins reshape their roster. What's the future of Tua Tagovailoa? The Dolphins began their rebuild yesterday, releasing 8-time Pro Bowl receiver Tyreek Hill, a move that will save Miami almost $23 million against the cap. They also released pass rusher Bradley Chubb. All eyes now turn to the future of quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who was benched for the final 3 weeks of the season. Today's Take 2.
Tua didn't even finish the season as the starter for the Dolphins.
He hasn't had that much success, and he has a pretty prominent injury history.
If they were to release Tua, they'll bring in somebody else. They have Ewers, who played at the end of last year.
I think it's going to be hard for them to move him.
There's not a team in the NFL that would assume his contract.
The $99.2 million in dead money is a huge number, would be a record.
I think they should certainly shop around the potential to trade him, and hopefully they can get some relief on that contract.
The Dolphins have to come out of this season, this offseason, at least knowing what their general plan is for the quarterback position.
Ultimately, Miami probably ends up cutting him and then just taking their medicine now as they try to rebuild.
The Dolphins will save just over $30 million in cap space by releasing Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, but they still have some decisions to make about their QB1 heading into next season. Tua Tagovailoa has the 6th highest salary cap number of any quarterback heading into the 2026 season. We'll see what's remain open through March 3rd at 4 p.m. So with that in mind, former general manager Mike Tannenbaum and Sam Acho here to run us through some interesting franchise tag dilemmas. Naturally, we'll start in Big D, Mike, with the Cowboys. What should they do with wide receiver George Pickens?
They have to franchise George Pickens, Joe
Pickens.
Yeah,
I'll take that franchise number.
93 catches last year, 9 touchdowns. They gave a 3rd-round pick. He's going nowhere. Micah Parsons was an easy deal to get done last summer that they couldn't get done, make him the highest-paid pass rusher. This is more of a nuance, guys, because Dallas is going to say, hey, you're a great number 2 like T. Higgins, and George Pickens is going to say, I don't take a back seat to CD Lamb, so I think this is going to be a challenging deal to get done.
I think that the franchise tag is definitely the route to go for George Pickens. He has a number 1 receiver potential, but there's still some question marks. And so the Cowboys are going to want to keep him as a number 2 to CeeDee Lamb. And I think that George Pickens may be willing to stay. Of course, he'll want a long-term deal with more money, but I think he'd be willing to stay for one more year in this opportunity with the Dallas Cowboys. Somewhat of a resurgence last year in his career. And I think the combination of him and CD with that offense